Okay, so this is part one of creating banners for your homepage. So I'm going to show you how to kind of create these little banners on the homepage of your site, work within some templates, and sort of do a few things to create your own banners. So before we get into it, just want to suggest that if you're doing this um, consistently on your own and you're not actually working with a designer or someone who understands your brand and kind of has the same design vision that it was originally intended for, then I would really work with your designer to create templates for you so you can learn how to turn this into a really simple solution for keeping or for making updates to it, unless you have the cash to burn on a designer to always do them for you, then great. But if you don't, then get some templates and start learning how to do this yourself. So right now we're in the process of updating templates for this client and providing them with a couple of variations of banner templates that really would just require, hey, replace the photo and replace the text or the copy on the image. And each photo is going to lend itself differently, and each phrase is going to lend itself differently to layout and stuff. So I think if we had a couple solutions, then that would give the client a couple variations and options to sort of choose from. And hopefully there'll be enough boundaries to where they won't make too many mistakes, or the original design and look of the site won't get too far from its original vision. So yeah, let me show you how we can create some of these. So if you pull up some of the PSDs, you'll see a couple different layout options, but several more can be made. But we'll just work with some of these for part one. So here is the CrossFit Sofa logo and a little short phrase underneath. Before you get going, it's pretty important that you have the fonts installed. So this font, for instance, if it's not pulling up or not showing it, it'll tell you. But I'm using Trade Gothic, LT Standard Bold, or basically it's the bold condensed version in all caps for the new year, new look. And then this is I think the same font. It's not in the font form, meaning I had just dragged in the logo itself and dropped it in as a vector smart object. So it's all outlined and everything. There's no text that can be edited. You can't just like click here and edit this text. So essentially, if you look at these these layers in Photoshop, if you open up this PSD, you'll see within here we have the logo that can be moved around, provided you're clicking on the arrow tool. We have the text, which is the new year, new look. And this lives within this folder here. So you have this drop down and these things live within here. And then we have a simple layer mask, which is on top of this. And it's basically saying, hey, put this distressed effect over the text. And that's what kind of gives it that look, that grungy look. If I were to hit Control click and disable that, then it would be a fresh, clean, white look, but I'm going to just leave that for now. Beyond that, this text layer is not in use, so I'll delete it. The background, yeah, we're using the background, so we keep that in white. And then we have our image, and the image also has a layer mask, and it's like putting some distress on it, so where you see those white specks, and what you're seeing is you're seeing this kind of shining through. So basically, I don't want to get into layer masks, but if you paint these areas with black, it will erase the image and reveal what's behind it. So that's kind of how you get that distressed look. So this is a unique image. This isn't really a template one. If I wanted to do more with it, I could unlink this and move it around. I could bring in a new image. So if I wanted to bring this image into it, I could. But I'd just have to reorder a few things. And it's not always going to work, right? So some images work, some will not work. So this one isn't the most friendly version. This one was created more so for the with the image in mind kind of first. So let me close out of this. Hit don't save. So here's a great example. This is a very simple look that could be repeated and probably legible on multiple images. So let's go ahead and open up a new image. So we'll go to original images. Okay, these are the big high-res JPEG files, and let's try to find one that is dark or black and white. Yeah, let's do this one. It's black and white. This one's black and white, so that's a good one. So I'll drag this, drop it in here, and shift click, kind of just start expanding that image. I'll just double click it for now since it's a smart object. I want to drag it above the existing image. And I don't need this other one anymore unless I'm going to keep reusing it. But that's already looking really good. I didn't do a whole lot. I can click the corner and make sure I'm highlighted on this, and can make it smaller or larger. I could zoom in. I can do a variety of things. I can drag this up, down, left, right. There's just no telling what you can do. Don't get too caught up in the options and possibilities. I think this is looking pretty cool, just the way it is. So I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to double click it to kind of get out of it, because if you just left it like this, you won't be able to proceed to things. You have to actually hit enter or double click it. So yeah, that's our image. It already kind of has some distress stuff going on. Don't manipulate that or play with that. This white layer, keep that on. The black layer is the one layer that you could touch. So you could go in here and highlight this layer and just start touching the numbers. So you can do 3, which changes the opacity here to 30. You can do 60, you can do 90, way too much. So let's stick with 70. 70 was where it was at, so that's good. This folder is just basically saying, hey, anything within here is going to be masked, and it's going to be distressed, and it's going to reveal the white. So those are the graphics that kind of are behind the scenes. Then you have this folder, which is going to have the text. So we have the text here. So if I hit the little eye symbol, it hides and reveals. And then we have the 2 shapes for the lines, and those kind of give the just a little more design. This is just kind of like the center line. I just want to make sure it's lined up. It's kind of right there in the middle. So we don't really want to move those around. Like this was designed the way it was. So make sure to leave this, and just if you need to update this, update it. But you may say, hey, all success stories are gonna just say success stories. But if this becomes a different template that you want to use for news or something else, then feel free to do that. Keep in mind, if you change the black layer to like a lighter version, then you may want to rethink the opacity on these. So, just because this is now at 40%, if I go to my lines, these are at 80%. So you may want to bring all of these up to 100% if you do something like that. But I suggest you don't, as much as you can. Don't manipulate the effects. Just concentrate on changing the text if you need to, and changing the image if you need to. Don't try to do crazy crops and like rethink the way it was shot. Like if you just bring these images close to the width without going too far in, right? So just slightly over the frame, it's probably going to look pretty good, because your photographer is typically shooting with some design in mind, and so he or she is thinking of rule of thirds, or thinking of layout and structure. So when they shoot it, usually they're shooting it the way it should be cropped. And so if you try to adjust that and like zoom in close on their face and do other things, then you're kind of taking things into your own hands. And so that's another way to kind of get a little carried away and dangerous with stuff. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. So I would, from here, just obviously we want to save this out beforehand before we start making all these adjustments. So I'll hit File, Save As, and we'll save this to the desktop. We'll call this New Success Stories. PSD, Photoshop layers with embedded sRGB. Okay. There it is. It's on the desktop. Let's go back to our file. Editing it in the new form, and now ready to go. Save for web. So Command Option Shift S, and all my settings still apply as normal. Hit save. Save this to the desktop. New success stories. That's good. It's SEO friendly, hopefully. If your title is kind of vague and irrelevant to search engines, like nobody's going to ever search for success stories, but people may search for weight loss stories, or testimonials, reviews, and gym reviews, different things like that. So if you want to be thoughtful of those things, then save your images with those keywords in mind, and not your own internal keywords. So that's it. Let's break this up into two parts, and I'll come back to this in another recording.